The time jump sequence was always going to be one of the most challenging sequences in the movie.
We did a combination of just about everything you could imagine.
This was the weirdest sequence I'd ever worked on.
Now, take these, because it gets pretty windy on the way down.
The way down.
And when you sort of read the script and you just have this little description, it's like, you know, Will activates time device, jumps off the Chrysler building, next thing you know, he's in 1969. You're like, all right, well, you know, exactly what are the breakdown aspects of that?
Gosh, it was one of the earliest sequences planned out in the movie, and it was some early pre-visualization was done, which is kind of early models and early animation tests.
And then during production, the only thing that really existed was one of the gargoyles on the corner of the Chrysler building that Will is walking on.
Basically, we had one gargoyle head, a little piece of some of the back wall of the Chrysler building, but that really was it. It was a big blue screen stage. And everything else, the Chrysler building, all of New York, or our version of New York, is all manufactured by us.
And it's one of those things where, again, we start off with reality, we'll build the Chrysler exactly as is, but then we have to alter it to either work with the set piece, or it might be for the storytelling purposes.
The Chrysler building is really, I think, you know, 80-odd stories in real life. In the sequence, it goes anywhere from 80 stories to 300, maybe 400 stories to, again, to fit the narrative, to fit the needs of the sequence. Because I think if you really jumped off of it, it would take just a few seconds to get to the bottom, and that's maybe not very satisfying as a roller coaster ride in the movie.
Now, as soon as you're moving fast enough, that circle's gonna fill up with some sort of green time travel liquid or some such, and it's gonna glow really bright.
We really wanted to feel that the clock is ticking, and he's got to achieve a certain number of steps with the time device to actually go back in time, and he's got to do that before he hits the ground. So one of the cool shots that I'm most proud of is this shot where he loses the time device. It gets knocked out of his hand, and he's tumbling around.
That's just an all-digital Will. There was no other way to do it, to get him to start to peel out and go down the side of the Chrysler building.
As the camera goes past him, we see his face, and he's reaching for this device. Everything from his chin down is a digital character. But his face is Will's real face, because Barry shot him against a blue screen from about the chest up, acting like he's reaching and getting all this expression on his face. And then we use that to put onto our digital character for just that portion of the shot.
But there's also where we replace a hand holding a time device. The time device is CG, parts of Will are CG, and some of it's real. It's constant mix. The time device finally clicks in and works. This, whatever it is, this green thing comes in and wipes across, and you're suddenly in different time zones, and you're going through time.
What I wrote for that scene was that Agent J would travel back into time and see every type of person, every type of creature who has ever lived on the island of Manhattan. So we get to not only see the dinosaurs, but we also travel through a fun montage of history.
We have the Wall Street crash briefly, and Barry Sonnenfeld is the main guy who's falling in that scene. That was pretty funny. And it's just nuts. I mean, the whole sequence is nuts, which is actually what's so cool about it.
I think it also lends kind of a historic scope to the movie that we're telling, which is also a story about saving the Earth again. It's a secret history that the world may never know about, but that the Men in Black do.